Is mental clutter steals peace. Mental clutter steals peace. And the verse today is be still and know that I am God. And that comes from Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. And our grounding here is God, quiet what is noisy within me. Help me to clear what does not belong in my mind. Yesterday, we spent a whole bunch of time, and I'll just pop over here so you can see it. But yesterday, we spent time talking about think about such things. And then whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right. And the grounding was God, give me my mind direction today. Give me direction. Teach me to not to let it wander wherever stress wants to take over it. And so we were saying, don't let it wander. And today we're saying, clutter steals peace. So not only do we want to not have our mind wander everywhere, we want to have the clutter that's in our mind not empty out some of those things, right? So there's things that are noisy. There's things that continue to come. And when I say noisy, I think it's just some of those thoughts that come back over and over again, and we need to clear them from our mind. And as we learned earlier in the last couple of weeks, we learned that in order to remove something from your mind, you have to replace it with something else. So we talked about all the different things that we could be saying, and we went through a list of 100 things that are 50, at least 50 things. I think we did a whole 100 of things that we could say to ourselves that don't belong in the clutter of our mind. And now we're replacing it with some of the truths and the things that be still and know that I am God. The clutter mind has a hard time hearing clearly. Too many open loops, unfinished thoughts, unprocessed emotions, and constant mental noise can leave you anxious, distracted, and spiritually dull. Peace often requires a clearing space. One of the things that we hold space in our mind for, and this is where your mind can that can get cluttered. I think of it as the multi-universe or the multiverse because I think of the superhero movies that we tend to watch these days. And I get so confused when I'm watching shows that have alternate timelines and alternate, realities that are available. Well, the problem with hold space in our mind that clutters our mind are these alternate possibilities. We ruminate on what we hear somebody say something, and then we go, okay, so that must mean that they're saying this. Then we begin to create this alternate reality of where we think that may go. And then when you think, and usually when we think something may go somewhere, we're not thinking of this may go in a good way. We're thinking of, okay, then because he said this, that must mean that this is what's true. And because this is what's true, this is where he must be going or she must be going with it. And then we take into our own minds into account, not understanding what somebody said, but we're taking into account that this is where it's going to go. Or it could just be ourselves. If I do this or if I don't get this done today, then somehow I'm not a good person. And then we hold space and clutter in our mind about something that we believe about ourselves that we know probably isn't true. We don't say, God, show me today that I am needed, that I am wanted, that I am loved. And he will, and he'll bring people in your space that can show you just that. We hold space in our mind and the clutter in our mind. A person carries unfinished tasks, unresolved conversations, and background worries all day long. And by evening, they are exhausted, even though not everything they carried actually needed their attention. Not everything they carried actually was a possibility of happening. Not everything they carried was part of what their life is even about. There have been, seasons in my life when I was not just tired, I was mentally crowded. And there's a difference. When your body is physically tired, that's one thing. But when your mind gets tired, when your mind has so much going on that you can't think, you can't remember, there's all these things you can't do. Too many thoughts, too many tabs open, We think about the computer and the tabs, and you can see all the tabs that are a part of my process right now. Just as we're talking, how many tabs appear or in your mind, right? What I needed to do is what someone said, what I should have handled better, or what might be coming next. Too many tabs over my mind. I was thinking about what I forgot, what I needed to do, what someone said I should do, what I should have handled, where I should go, who I should talk to. And it might be, what's coming next. The noise was so exhausting. And what hit me was this: not all of what was urgent, not all of that was urgent. In fact, most of it was urgent. Probably none of it was urgent, but all of it was taking up space. I remember finally sitting still one day and writing it all down. Every loose thought, every concern, every unfinished piece, and just seeing it outside of my head helped me breathe again. I realized some of what I was carrying belonged on paper. Some needed prayer, some needed action, some needed release. That day reminded me that mental clutter steals peace when you let everything stay piled up inside. So when we think about the mind and what the mind is doing right now, and the brain can only hold, and I guess we would be surprised at what the brain is possible of doing. But the brain can only hold and process a limited amount of information at once in its working memory. So that's the cache. That's the part that is happening right now. So it can hold infinite amounts of data inside of it that sometimes is easy to recall and sometimes isn't. If we think of our minds as like a computer, there is a portion that comes into the frontal cortex that is our working memory. This is what we're working with. And it can only hold, some people say, and they pride themselves on, I have the ability to multitask. Well, the truth is the brain isn't capable of multitasking. It can do a whole bunch of repetitive tasks all in multi-milliseconds and go from here and here to here to here to here to here, but it can't do the two things at the same time. It has to split it up, right? And there's only so much that can fit in our working memory. So when too many unresolved items compete for attention, mental overload increases stress, and that reduces clarity. So externalizing thoughts through journaling, this is why it's important to say things out loud. Planning or prayer can reduce cognitive load and help the brain shift from chaos to organization. So the term here that we're using is the cognitive load. How are you making sure that your cognitive load is not too much and you've gotten rid of some of the clutter, especially on things, and I know that's a hard thing to do for some people, is especially on the things that created anxiousness. And what creates the anxiousness is getting into things that have not happened, most likely won't happen, and your belief system is saying, what if it does? We have to figure out ways to remove that, right? And so you control on heart connection areas. You cannot hear clearly when everything is crowded. So the invitation is, what mental clutter have you been carrying that needs to be cleared? What mental clutter? So today, let's spend some time identifying what that clutter is, and then we'll spend some time tomorrow talking about how do we make sure, whether it's prayer, whether it's affirmation, whether it's routine, the things that we do in the morning and the things you do throughout the day that help you eliminate some of that clutter so that your cognitive load lightens so that you can have clarity. So the practice today is write down everything that feels mentally heavy today. Then separate it into three categories. Act on it, pray over it, release it. And then when we release it, we have to replace it with either what we're acting on or what we're praying over. So the short prayer today is, Lord, clear my mind of what is not mine to carry and quiet what is crowded my peace. Amen. So the blessing is, may your mind grow quieter, your thoughts grow clearer, and your heart make room for peace. Do you think that clutter affects peace? What helps you clear your mind when it feels crowded? And why is stillness so hard for many people? Maybe think about that a little bit. Instead of even thinking about why it's hard for so many people, why is stillness hard for you? I think it's so powerful today if we really think about the practice, separating to write down everything that feels mentally heavy today, then separate it, act on it, pray over it, or release it. What a wonderful thing to do. I'm going to copy that. We can put it in our word for today as we think about what do I need to do in the promises that I'm making today. All right, so let's move into